Welcome back to Big Trouble in Little Podcast, episode 310. My name is Andy.
I'm Chaz.
And I'm Dubs.
Yep. And I'm Zach.
Everyone got too anxious that time. We'll figure it out. The movie ranking podcast. This is, I guess the theme is just Black History Month. Is that what we're calling it? Do we have a clever name? We don't, do we?
No, we don't have like the other ones like McConaughey or Christmas. We should
Out of respect, it's only called Black History Month.
Yeah, African American culture, moving picture, talkie stuff.
We're four white guys, and we're going to discuss Black History Month.
I'm going to tell you how to feel about racism. Ready?
This week's movie is American Fiction from 2023. It was my pick. Where to start? I'm not as good at this as Dubs is. I know how to do the intro, and I don't know how to segue, how to transition. What do you guys think about this movie? Did it outrage you? Did you love it?
It was like a roller coaster for me. Because in the beginning, I was just like, all right, I respect the actor and stuff. Obviously, I could tell it's a comedy, just right off the bat.
It's a very funny movie.
And you know me with comedy, I'm not like that's not my best genre of movies. So I was just like,
I mean, it's not friggin' Silver Streak. It's not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like it's a dramedy, I guess.
Dramedy, yeah.
That's what I look at it. It's little bits of comedy, witty humor mixed in, but it's just a story.
yeah, it essentially is a story. But like when me feeling out the story in the beginning, I was just like, oh, here we go. It's a comedy, so hopefully I'll like it. And in the beginning, I was just like, all right, I get it. I see where it's going. I did find the fucking classroom scene really funny.
I was offended
That's
personally.
The very first thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I was really upset about it, actually. I had to leave the room, come back.
I was like, okay, this movie's probably gonna be pretty good.
like right away, it's I can't remember why I decided to watch this movie last year, because again, it's my pick. I'm the one who I couldn't wait to make you guys watch this movie. I couldn't wait to recommend this movie to people, but I think it was just Felix Leiter's in this movie, and it was like auto played on my Fire Stick, or the trailer auto played on my Fire Stick, and there's probably like in the trailer there was a couple laughs, and so I probably hit play thinking I'm gonna stop this. I do that all the time. I'll watch the first like 8 minutes of a movie and be like, this is bullshit, I'm not watching this. But the very first scene in this movie is very funny. So like right away I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna see what this movie's gonna do, and then I was along for the ride after that.
It had to be the Bond movies that we were watching that you were just like, all right, I watched that Bond movie, and then
probably at some point. I mean, Jeffrey Wright is his name, right? The actor. He's great anyway. I've seen him in a few other things, but yeah, I mostly know him as Felix Leiter. I'm not gonna like pretend to be like, I know him from all this other stuff.
So essentially the plot is like he's an author that's trying to like get something published and be like the best selling and stuff. And he gets like lumped into this like African American author, and he's just like, I just want to write a book. And then he essentially does, because he sees like that female girl, I forget the names, that does like a black drama, I guess, in the book, and she does like, I'm trying not to like sound as like white guy, but like slang, and he's like, that shit's garbage. Like, I could do better than that. And then he does that and acts like he's an ex-criminal and stuff. There's more to it, obviously.
That the scene where they're like, this black woman wrote this book. We're up against her at this book convention or whatever. You should go see what her thing's about. And he walks in and she's doing a reading of the book. And it's like comically like urban, like cliche, like nonsense. Well, not nonsense, but you know what I mean. And the very first piece of like hit you in the head with a hammer satire happens when he's standing there and she's reading it, and you're like, oh my god, this is bad, I guess, but people love it. And the first thing that happens is a white woman stands up between him and the camera and like and he's like clapping, like like right away. It's I see what this movie's deal is.
This movie is not actually about black people. It's about white guilt. White guilt is a commodity.
Well, it's about like
Wait,
the culture's consumption of black identity, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think both those points are valid, really.
It's before you go, Zach, it's essentially he's trying to, like, in written form, a Tyler Perry book, essentially.
Yeah. Well, what's funny though too is like, so this guy in this movie, I'm gonna gush about this movie. I don't know if you guys have good or bad. I have nothing bad to say about this movie. I thought this movie was fucking fantastic. This movie is so smart because he says literally in the movie, he is a black man that just wants to write a story. He does not want to write a black story. He just wants to write a story, but because he's black, it's made into a black story. The movie is a story about black people, but then is a caricature of being a black story.
The whole movie is a meta commentary on what the movie is trying to be a commentary about.
It's so fucking smart. And then they break fourth wall at the end with the whole movie thing. It's fucking brilliant. I love
an adaptation on you.
No, it's so good. It's so good.
This movie has one of my favorite like simple jokes I think I've ever seen in a comedy, and this is jumping ahead, but they're debating what book should win Book of the Year from this fictional nonsense award, and he and the black woman are arguing against Fuck, the name of the book he writes, and the three white people all love it and they want to give it the top one, and he's like, well, it's 3 against 2, so it's going to be our winner. And the woman says, I think it's really important that we listen to black voices right now. And the camera just shows the 3 of them on one side of the room and the 2 black people who are disagreeing sitting at the table. And it just like leaves silence and then the scene cuts. It's the funniest joke I've ever seen in one of his movies. I love this.
I woke my family up laughing so hard at that scene. I was howling laughing. It's also so funny.
The scene before that where she's like in there by herself in that room, and then Monk comes back and he's got his lunch with him, and he's like, can I ask you a question? They have this really serious conversation about like her books and like what that means and why he doesn't like it and everything, and they get into this big racial stereotype discussion. Basically, that's what, because that's what the book is. It's like bad stereotypes. And then like the other white lady comes in as part of the committee, and she's like, what are you guys talking about? Just cuts.
Yeah. What's really funny too is she comes in at the worst possible time because he's about to have an epiphany, but he doesn't yet. He gets to it later, but she says the whole thing about, he says, I just think that we have so much potential. And she said, potential is whenever you think what's in front of you is not good enough.
Good enough, right.
And it's like he's about to register what she means, because it's not that he cares about his black identity, it's that he's too smart to relate to people as a whole anyway. Like, let's be honest, Monk's a little on the spectrum.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's what his brother's telling him, and his girlfriend's telling him at a different part of it. Like everyone tells him, look, you need to learn how to relate to other people, but he can't.
He can't. Yeah, it has nothing to do with him being black. He just happens to be black, but he's going through something personal that is affecting him in this way, and he just happens to be black, and he's wrapped up in this. So before we move on, I just want to ask what you guys think about this, because I think the movie does a good job of treading the line and not giving you an answer. But does she hate the book because she actually sees it for what it is, because it's just written so ham-fisted, because he was doing it as this cruel joke to make fun of people less intelligent than him? Is it truly that she feels that way, or does she actually feel like, I have to say something against this because it's in her best interest, because she's writing the same shit and it's just going to make her look bad?
I think it's both. I think it's like she sees it as a threat, so that's why she like talks down to it. But I think she secretly likes it too, but she just doesn't want to admit it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, it never gives you any reason to think one or the other. Like, it's vague enough that she could have a motive there to think that, oh, well, I am on top of the world right now in terms of this particular niche. Like, if this other person is allowed to win an award like this, then I'm dethroned, right? But if if it really is just that she's understanding, oh, well, I feel offended by this because this took what I wrote and turned it up to 11. Like, it's too much. It can't be real. Which it isn't, right? It was completely fiction.
The impression I got was they're almost level with each other. I thought this is what I think. To answer your question, this is what I think has happened. Is she wrote a book that she said she researched it and it's put together from hundreds of hours of interviews, and she has a college education and she was a reader. I think that she thinks she did a genuine thing. She thinks she made a good book, but because of the way that culture has formed her opinion of like good storytelling, that's what came out, and that's what people wanted, and it was popular, and it did well. Mm-hmm. And he sees what she made and identifies it as nonsense. And then
what she made, more how people respond to it, because he only gets like the smallest taste of that, and then
that's true. He doesn't read the whole book,
and he says that, right? Yeah. Continue.
But then he rather spitefully writes a whole book in that exact same vein on purpose as a joke. Doesn't even want it published, but it gets published. And then she goes through the exact same, like off screen. She's not the main character. We only see her in like a handful of scenes. But I think off screen, she goes through a similar realization that he had when he found out about her book. And I think she's doing that, but she's not really correlating it with her work.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah.
Side note, the mom is from Deadpool, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the old his neighbor, right? Or roommate, was it?
Yeah,
the blind lady.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think I recognized her. I'm like, what have I seen her for? Oh,
yeah.
She's his roommate.
Yeah, there's a ton of good actors and actresses. Like, Monk's sister is from. She was the mom in the show Blackish, which is it's a comedy show. It's
the only thing
good.
I picked out was I always get a big pop every time I see Keith David in something. I was like, oh, Keith David's in this.
Amazon didn't know that Keith David was like in that scene where he's like writing that, where Van Gogh and like his dad, his fictional characters are having that whole
his made up guys.
Scene. Usually the X-ray thing, it tells you who the actors are. They didn't note that was Keith David.
That's weird. His name is in the opening credits is what's funny. It's like the next to last name, because I remember the first time I saw this movie, I was like, oh, Keith David is in this, awesome. And I spent like the whole time being like, where's Keith David? And then he turns up for one scene, which is a shame.
Yeah. Didn't show up for more.
I actually dig the whole, like, he's writing the book and like the characters are in front. It's just a nice touch to it.
Yeah. That was a cool scene. The whole thing was them interacting with him, and he's like, well, what's my motivation? What am I doing here?
It's like a callback to some offhand comment he made earlier in the movie, where he's like, my job is I sit there and think of imaginary characters having conversations with each other.
Oh yeah, he's talking to his doctor sister. Yeah.
Were you guys always on edge about his family members just dying out of nowhere?
Yes, hugely. I've gone on record, I think, saying this, like, my greatest fear in life is like Alzheimer's and memory loss, and seeing it depicted in a movie always puts me on edge. I cannot stand it. I hate it. It makes me really uncomfortable. But I had to know what happened. I had to see the end of this movie, so I stuck with it. Yeah,
Alzheimer's sucks. Yeah. Any scene that like related to that always gets to me too. It's like, that is not the way I want to go out. And then his sister dying, like, they give you just little breadcrumbs that set it up just enough. But like, again, she's smoking. She's got a lot of stress because divorce, and she's the one dealing with, picking up the pieces with the family. So she's got a lot of stress on her, and she's a doctor. Like, she's got a lot on her, and she's in her 50s. The movie like
tricks you too, because it seems like, oh, she's going to be a major character, and like the scene where that is solidified, she dies.
Man, that is it. Actually, like, it's a gut punch. I thought it was really well executed in the turning point of the movie, because it's really early. He has already given and established that he's not close to this family. Like, you're already getting this vibe from him that he doesn't get along well with others. He
didn't even want to see him.
Right. So then they finally get some type of big closure that we never talk through these types of things. And it's like, oh, maybe there's a turning point here. And his sister literally fucking dies, like right there in front of him, and he sees it. It's like really traumatic and fucked up. That's
the interesting thing about this movie. On the second watch, I got out of this that, like, looking back on it, I think about he's an author and he's frustrated with depiction of black culture and stuff like that, and that's what I remember. But like, it feels like on the second viewing, like 2/3 of this movie is just a drama about a dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that's the meat of the story. Like, a lot of things influence and inform on what's going on in both halves of the story, like what Monk's doing and how he's feeling and how he's reacting to stuff and his interpersonal relationships. But I mean, that's all the real drama. Like his everything with his brother is just really interesting to me.
Oh yeah, his brother's life is crazy.
Like
It's
the
all
scene,
over the place.
the scene where his sister dies is tragic, but I think the saddest scene is when his Alzheimer's-stricken mother confuses him for not be like, I'm so glad you're not gay. She says something else, and then he leaves. Like, that's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Well,
there's another scene like that where he's talking to his mother. Monk's talking to his mother.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was about to bring up.
Calls him the wrong son. Yeah.
And she calls him the wrong and says, "Oh, you're the genius, my little Cliffy." And it's like, oh man, you were about to have a breakthrough.
Yeah.
But then she's got you
It
confused.
felt perfect, and then the rug pulls you. Oh my god.
Yeah. But oh, go ahead, Dubs. Go ahead.
Yeah, because they're all. There's also a subplot about like the father and stuff, and that's the scene that Chaz is talking about. Like, why didn't you leave him if you knew he was cheating? And he's like, well, he's a genius, and genius,
He'd been even more lonely without me, or something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck, like that's me not knowing about the dad and just getting those like secondhand talking points of the dad through the characters. I really loved it.
I like that a lot. I think a lazier screenplay would have had flashbacks. It would have shown them as kids, and the dad would have been a prick or like standoffish, or he'd been in his office like doing his own thing and yelling at the kids or something like that. But they don't do that. They you learn about the father through their conversations, like naturally, like you would in real life, learn about someone who's dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this movie does such a good job of blending the like you said, this real story here is it's this family drama that plays out. But again, it's just the context of this is a person, again, who is he's a writer. He just wants to write books, but because he's black, his books are looked as he needs to write black books because all of his books are going to be considered African American studies, which is its own issue with our culture. But he wants to write a story, but within it is like his own story is just this unfolded drama that is a perfect story. And then like I thought it was great that like they take that turn where he ends up making a movie about the actuality of what happened.
Mm.
Wow. And then and the way I took it too is it's not like any of that didn't happen and he was doing the movie screen the whole time. The way I took that is all of this really happened up to a certain point, and it's that point where he asked to talk to the director again that he decided, you know what? I think I want to tell people about this. People need to see this. This can make a good movie. I think it's compelling.
Which ending is best of the endings he chooses? Is it cut to black?
The second one.
The second one where he goes to the woman's house?
Yeah, because the first one, it ends abruptly, and I was just like, I get it. We don't know what he says, but it's kind of just like too quick. But the second
I like that
one,
better. I like cutting to black. I don't want any of that stuff.
I like the first one the most. The third one, I laughed so hard because
it's great.
Okay, so let's get to that. So
he's got a gun.
So in the middle of the movie, they mentioned something about how the FBI contacted the other publisher, and immediately in my head, I'm thinking, if this motherfucker gets accidentally shot by the FBI, this is gonna be the most like live action Boondocks bullshit I've ever seen, and I'm gonna love it. And that's exactly what happened.
They gave you what you wanted.
Oh, it was perfect. I laughed so hard. Thought it was great. But yeah, I liked the very first ending. And it would have been good to even hear something too, but I like that it didn't let you know that it was just gonna end and be cut off. But I get that again, it's that whole thing of what's gonna appeal to someone in their specific interest versus what appeals to a general audience. Like that type of ending, people would have hated, right?
Sure, maybe. Zach, what do you think?
I don't know. there were things about each one I didn't like.
Oh, well, I mean, I think maybe that's part of the point. Maybe like,
I feel like how Monk did. He was kind of dissatisfied with the whole thing. Just like the first ending, like Dubs was saying, yeah, it's too abrupt. I think those kind of endings are really tricky to pull off. When they work, they're really good.
Honestly, it's so melancholy too, because the director asks him, listen to me, asks him, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I just got up and left the room." Okay, well, that's not very dramatic. Okay, well, did you get back together with your girlfriend? I don't know. She won't return my calls. God damn it!
Yeah, it's so sad what really happened versus the movie thing. Yeah,
like maybe a perfect world. I'd do like a hybrid of the first two endings put together, where he leaves the the ceremony or whatever, goes to her house, knocks on the door, fade.
There you go, something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And maybe he does fix that, but the actual ending of the movie is also still good because there's something important. His brother clearly has been detached from the family and had a lot of other issues, and throughout the movie they play that out, and he gets kind of like brought back into the family toward the end when they come to the wedding and whatnot. And who's there with him at the very end to pick him up after?
His brother's there.
So in a way, there is still a happy ending. Even if he's not satisfied, he's about to make a lot of money to take care of himself and his mother, who needs it. And he and his brother have a relationship again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a happy ending for sure, yeah.
No, it is. And I think it's easy to get stuck. Oh, man, we could have had any of the three, but, reality's kind of cruel, so he didn't get to do the cool thing. It's almost like the thing, like, oh man, you're in the shower and you're thinking like, oh, what would I have actually done?
Oh yeah, I should have said this. Yeah, sure.
So it's like playing out all of those things that he could have done.
Well, that's the thing is there's two halves to this movie. There's the cultural battle, and then there's the dysfunctional family, and one half gets a happy ending. And in my opinion, it's if you had to choose two, that's the one you would want personally.
Yeah.
Here's a question. That ending with him getting into the car and then he looks at the Huckleberry Finn character.
Yeah, like the slave character, I guess.
And he goes like this and then just drives off, and I'm just like, okay.
I don't know.
I like that cool. Too. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then that's the end of the movie. I'm like, what was that?
It's just kind of an extra punctuation to let you think about stuff, I guess.
No, it is, because it's like, I think a lot of that has to do too with it's just a nod to, okay, hang in there, brother. But also he sees there's this, I don't know, I feel like I grew with the movie, and maybe he did a little too, being able to try to relate a little more to people, but also realizing the problem he's having isn't just as much his own as it is a much bigger problem that he can't fix. It's his own personal issue with looking at the world and really seeing that he's too smart for the world around him. But he also can't fix the culture thing. It's much bigger than himself, and that's not going away. White guilt ain't going nowhere, because we still have racists. So it just is what it is.
It's so funny, seeing that stuff, the part where the I don't know if the gay guy and the lady, where I guess they were publishers or something like that. They're like, what's the title of your book? And then Monk is like, fuck.
I want to call it fuck.
Yeah. You can't call it that. You can't say that. Yes, we can. They're like,
can we call it damn or hell? He's like, no, fuck.
No.
What about with P? No, fuck.
Fuck. Take it or I'm leaving the deal. And then there's a pause for a couple seconds. We'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, so another scene that I really like, this is when he gets caught in the rabbit hole. And this, again, the story intertwines so well, because the whole reason he gets really caught up in this rabbit hole is actually because of his family, right? The things play out, but he could have walked away at any point. But the thing that reels him in is that it's not about the success. He could care less about the fame. If anything, he's threatened or terrified to be known as the guy that wrote this book. It's rather the money could help his family. He can help his mom, right?
He needs that money.
So that's how he gets stuck into it. So that's how they really intertwine the two stories being told. But his agent tells him that comparison. He gives that little analogy with the Johnny Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was simple, but so clever and effective to do. And then at the end, did you see what they're drinking?
Weren't drinking.
They were drinking the red. They weren't drinking.
I thought that was really funny.
I did too. I thought it was very clever.
Because it's so true. Like when you go to the liquor store, like we're not getting like the barrel $90 bottle. It's like I'm getting the cheap shit, and that's what mass people are gonna like. I got the analogy. The analogy was fucking great.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like going to a steakhouse. It's like, are you gonna pay for the the highest tier that they have to get less steak? Are you gonna pay $20 more for a small little fillet that's tender if you're in the spot where you can just afford to barely be in the room, much less eat there? No, you're gonna take the most bang for your buck, right?
Yeah, I'm going to fucking Outback Steakhouse, getting a steak and a blooming onion. Fuck it,
right? Like that. So like what he's saying is true. Like it appeals to like what most people can get.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to buy. Nobody cares. Like only a certain group or number of people are going to care about a certain highbrow type of thing. So I don't know. I thought it was a very clever analogy to his situation, and it seemed like maybe he was going to pick up from it. It was just enough to convince him to do it. I think it was more that the money is what was needed, so that was the motivation. But but yeah.
Another funny scene is when the guy is trying to buy the movie rights and he hears the sirens and he fucking books it. And he's like, I probably just messed that shit up. And he's like, no, they took it. It was like so real.
He thought, he was like, you're the real deal. You ran the moment you heard police sirens. And it's like,
it wasn't even police.
It was an ambulance. And it wasn't even like, it was visible that it was an ambulance. Like he could look out the window and see it was an ambulance. But man, if anything, this is another subtle but really funny thing because it is true. But as much as in media and in culture we have the portrayal of black stereotypes, the white, just like airheaded yuppie stereotype was so on in this movie, and it was so fucking funny. Was it not? Like the fucking honkies were at it. Like it was great. Like let's be real. Like it was so fucking funny because like fucking airheads, man. Like I don't know any people like that, but at the same time, it was really good because there are people out there that would again just be offended because the N-word is on a board.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get why you're not offended. It's like I got over it. You can't too.
That's like one of the funniest lines of the whole damn movie.
It really is.
And just to touch up on that scene, like when he goes to the office to, I guess, talk to like, the higher ups of the school, like the guy, that snobby author guy, he's like, look at me, I'm a best-selling author. And he's like, yeah, that took a really long time to become a best-selling author. So I'm paraphrasing, but he like got him with a sick burn. I was like, that was fucking quick. Holy fuck. Oh man. But yeah, this like I said before, this movie in the beginning, I was just like, what is this? Like, and then all of a sudden I was hooked. I think I was really hooked. It's gonna sound fucked up. I was hooked literally when the sister died. And like the comedy,
it is a weird turn. You're like, okay, where is this movie going?
Yeah. I think that's what happened. I'm like, is this a comedy? Is this a serious movie? What's going on here? And I stuck with it, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
I agree. I thought the movie was it's one of the more intelligent films I've watched in a while. Like not even trying to be in the sense of I'm trying to tell some type of thrilling or compelling mystery to grip you. Like it's just telling what felt like a real story that was just unfolding as we watch it, but because of the context and the meta context of what they're talking about and how they intertwine the two things happening at the same time, it's just so well written.
I think about this movie all the time since I watched it last year. I still think about it all the time.
Yeah,
like I'll see things that remind me of this movie all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've only had 24 hours, but I've thought about this movie all day. Yeah.
I guess we all seem to really like this movie. I know I sure do. Is there anything about it you don't like? That's a lot of dead air. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't pick anything out. I guess the only thing I could nitpick is like the beginning. That's just a personal nitpick because I'm not.
Again, like the first scene is what hooks me. I love it.
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
I have nothing. I think this is actually a pretty spot on decent movie.
Oh yeah, under 2 hours. It's very well paced.
Yep.
Like this movie is. I mean, okay. I guess the only thing I could think of, for the most part, the soundtrack, like of things that play, there's not a ton of it.
I really wish there was more Thelonious Monk music. They only do, I think it's Autumn Leaves over the credits.
Yeah,
and that's cool. I mean, they shouldn't overdo it, but they keep dangling it out there with his name, and it makes me think about Thelonious Monk. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was listening to Thelonious Monk right now. But
yeah, it's like you said, there is that. I think that's the only thing this movie is like lacking, is there's not a ton of music, and they only give you a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. It's all just kind of utilitarian. It's just kind of doing what it needs to do.
Exactly. But not that the movie needs it. It's good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't need anything else. I felt like, as far as exposition and things, like you'd said, like a less intelligent script would have given you far more in flashbacks and other stories.
Flashbacks, and it would be 2 hours and 20 minutes because of it.
And I would have hated it, because it's like, I don't want that. I don't need explanation. Like, what you gave me is perfect.
This movie doesn't condescend once. Like,
no.
When you're watching it, honestly, I think maybe that's part of its trick. That's part of what makes me like it so much, is when I'm watching it, I'm like, I feel so smart. Oh, I'm so smart. I know what this movie's doing. I understand the satire.
Which is also ironic, too, because the main character's whole thing is, when he talks to other people, the only way he knows how to interact with others is to actually be condescending, but hide it in a way that say it in a non-condescending way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, here we are, a bunch of white people talking about gushing over this movie. I mean, maybe we aren't as smart as we think we are.
Good movies are good movies. It doesn't matter anything else. There's a few parts in this movie that should be insulting. When the mother's meeting his girlfriend for the first time, she says, "I'm so glad you're not white," and she says, "Me too." And part of me is like, "Ow!" But it's a joke. I get it. I get the context of the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's funny.
So we all recommending it?
Hell yeah,
absolutely.
This is in my Letterboxd review. I put this is one of the most recommendable movies I've ever seen. I could recommend this movie to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good.
Also, I did a tiny bit of a joke selecting this movie. I just want to point it out because it's dumb. But he's upset that all of his stories are Black history, Black studies, whatever, in the bookstore. And so he made this story, and then I chose this story for Black History Month.
I see what you did there. That's funny.
You put it in its little box. You box it in.
Again, as soon as I saw this movie, part of my brain was like, how can I get this on the podcast? I have to figure this out.
Well, it's good. So the next movie for visual people, which, by the way, if you want to catch us, we're on Big Trouble Media's YouTube. So if you want to catch the behind the scenes, it might be a little weird if you're watching or listening to the audio and then jumping to the video, because we're going to be like far ahead compared to what's being released on audio.
Look, you do you, whatever you like.
Yeah, this is a VIP. But the next movie is my pick, and it's Fences, 2016, Denzel Washington, and I forgot the girl lead actress because she won an award, I believe, an Oscar. Actually got lots of awards, I believe. The reason I picked this,
Viola Davis.
There you go. The reason I picked this is I've always seen like YouTube shorts of the scenes, and I'm like, this is a good movie. I might watch.
Do they do that thing where they add music to it?
Yeah.
I see a lot of that shit too. I hate it. It keeps showing me. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It keeps showing me all the same ones about Tom Hardy's the leader of a motorcycle gang or something in the 50s. It shows me those all the time. I don't even know what movie that is.
I thought that was a TV show, but it could be a movie.
Maybe it might be. I have no fucking clue, but it shows them to me all the time, and I'm like, I hate this.
But besides like the music in the background, like number one, Denzel Washington's great. But two, like I was like, oh, this is a good scene. What the fuck? and I never got around to it until now. So that's what we're gonna watch, and that's what we'll be discussing.
So you've never seen it before?
I've never seen it before.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before either.
Fun fact. I've not seen it, but I almost chose this movie last year. So last year, if you want to go in our archives and watch or listen to any of our episodes, we actually did Denzel Washington month. And Fences was actually on my list, but I wanted to pick things from different generations or different decades, rather. And I had already had the movie I wanted in this decade, so I didn't choose Fences for that reason and only. It got edged out. But that said, I'm very excited to watch this. So. Look forward to it. Zach, you ever watched it?
No.
Good. So we'll all be fresh on this one.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Host credits scene.
Do we have any ad rolls, or are we just gonna go right into it?
We're going right into it because my video thing that I was creating with it crashed in the middle of making.
Yeah, that's okay. There's going to be hundreds more episodes. This podcast will never die.
I mean, you didn't talk to that wrestler about getting promoted by his racist beer?
Wrestler, that no-name guy.
Yeah, that Fu Manchu motherfucker with a hot dog skin.
Even I'm
talking about
stuff now. Oh my god!
You know the guy that killed the giant with fucking monster trucks. But anyway,
no, he killed the giant when he body slammed him. You know, it was like a few weeks later he died.
Picked him up. The only one who ever did it the one time.
And then there's like 30 clips of people body slamming Andre. Yeah.
But Andy, what's host credit scene?
Host credit scene is where we talk about what we've watched, played, read, whatever you want to talk about, what media we consumed. Get to know us, get to know the hosts, know our tastes, get some recommendations, get some recs. I don't want to go first. I just don't, so I'm going to make Chaz go first.
Ah, shit. Yay, I get to go first. All right. Well,
Burned down LA, right? That was you.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, I got a little handsy with the box of matches. I'm sorry. Actually, it was kind of wild. I flew into LAX. The picture's weird because it did one of these panoramic pictures as we're moving. But we came in. The sun is going down, and we're over when you fly into LAX, you come in over the ocean to come in. So we're coming in over the ocean. It's right at dusk, and like half of LA is on fire. It's kind of fucking crazy. It looks really cool. But then I was like, oh wait, besides this, I shouldn't think this is cool. Oh wait, the city's on fire. I hope everyone's okay. But we actually had to be warned ahead of time when we were flying in because we could smell smoke, and the pilot had to let us know. It was like, our plane is fine. There are wildfires
California
right now.
is not.
Yeah, where we're landing is bad, but your plane is fine.
So it didn't affect the stuff you were doing in Anaheim at all? Like they just business as usual?
Anaheim was far enough away. Like at most, like there was one day where the air quality was a little worse, and like I had some allergy stuff. Which I'm gonna say, I sound like a little bitch for complaining about it because people lost their homes and lives and all these things. Like those things matter far more. But I was looking forward to going to LA because the air is so clean and nice. I know this is weird, like the smog and nonsense, but really, like for me, my allergies are so bad here. I go West Coast and it's fantastic. So I was looking forward to that.
Climb is what you mean.
Yeah. So I'm not allergic to anything. It's usually great. I don't even have to take my allergy meds while I'm out there. Well, I had to take them while I was there. I took them anyway, like just in case. But because of the air quality, I would end up using them. But
thanks, LA.
Yeah, but the
thanks for being on fire, fucking city.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who to blame. There's so many people. It's the homeless, the gays. I don't know. I don't know who to blame. I'm just too many people.
Satan worshippers. I guess.
Yeah, it's probably
the governor. I mean,
communists, anarchists.
So many people are at fault. Shout out to the World Kitchen though. Like already out there. Like at the moment, like everything was happening. I think it's called World Kitchen or World Central Kitchen. Or immediately out like providing food to people that are displaced from their homes and other stuff. So I think if I'm gonna plug anything, like people are actively out there risking their lives delivering food to people, like right in like the areas where they're just allowed to even be. There's a lot of really good work, and they've done that for a lot of other disasters too. Like they were one of the main organizations to help keep a lot of the families fed in Asheville when the flooding and stuff happened earlier in 2024. So Yeah, shout out to I think, Jose Andres, is I think the head chef and the like the person who founded the organization. It's a great organization. So if you're thinking who to donate to this year for charity, it would be one to think about. Anyway, the reason I was in LA, we went to Disneyland and got to meet Mickey Mouse and do all kinds of dumb stuff in the parks. Yeah, that stupid rat. And actually, it's funny. My brother bought like a toy raven or a crow, like a shoulder pal, and he was having trouble putting it on, and he finally got it on, and literally yells the words, "Oh, I got it, perfect!" And Peter Pan ran up and just took it and ran off, and started skipping around the park and laughing at him. So one thing I really love about the parks there versus going to Disney World, like Disney World's very much, okay, Mickey Mouse is going to be right here, and you can line up and you can take a picture with him, and that's it. And it's so, I don't want to say soulless, because I mean it's still great to see how your
Disneyland
kids
feels
react.
more like an adventure because
Disneyland is so authentic.
Yeah,
Well, Disneyland's smaller, so it's all together, but
Yeah.
also it's authentic because the characters just spontaneously show up. In any character, like it literally any character could just show up. Like it's really cool. Like you don't know who you're going to interact with on day to day. So it's neat that exists. The adventure park stuff is great. Pixar Pier is awesome. I didn't get to ride the Incredicoaster, which is like the new big roller coaster there, because Evie's not big enough yet, and that sucks, but it's fine. When she gets older, we'll do that. But we had fun in the parks, and then they continued to go to the parks, and I competed in the Disney Lorcana North American Championships, and so there were 126 of us, and I got 100th. Not so great.
exactly
Unfortunately,
100 though. Pretty cool number.
I made top 100. Yeah, so I can go down and say I was the top 100 players in North America this year. That was pretty cool. But it's funny though, like the pairing system of how, like, normally in games like this, like you win or you lose and you move on to the next round, and like if you take a couple of losses, you're just out of everything. The way the point system works is so weird in this game because there's no determined winner or loser each round. Like you could just draw with your opponent. Like it's actually very common because you only play 2 games, not best of 3 or best of 5 or whatever. So I actually had a lot of draws going up, and there were only 7 rounds. And then after that, they decided the top 16 records would move on to day 2 in a single elimination tournament. So at the end of round 5, I had a record. I was still in contention to make top 16. So it's not like I was out, like, and like just dead on my ass the whole time. Like I actually had a fighting chance. I just happened to lose round 6 and lose round 7. Losing round 7 didn't matter. Losing round 6 knocked me out of contention of any prizing. So after that, I just gave the win to my opponent on round 7. But
you got to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, so I got to go to Disneyland, and I got like $3,000 in promos for showing up. So I can't be too upset. Actually, I'll grab it since we're officially on camera now. I can show some of my cool promo cards. Yeah, we have videos. Yeah, let's see here. I gotta find my cards now. What do I do with them?
Look at his messy room.
No. No, my room is filthy. Don't look. Oh man, I don't actually know where the Cusco promos are. That's a bummer. Where'd I put them?
Any man with a deck of cards has a fighting chance.
Where's the Cusco promo? The promo with Cusco. Cusco's promo.
Yeah, the Cusco promo is nowhere to be seen. I'll show you the Baymax promo. All right, so this was the first promo. That's the one that's worth like $2,000.
Oh,
called
shit.
Invited to the Ball. That's
Burn it.
Yeah, burn it. Yeah, I'm gonna eat it. And then I actually got a total of 6 of these promos. They're Baymax promos. They're worth about $100 each. And the Cusco promos I have 4 of, and they're worth about $60, $70 each. I don't know where they're at though. I put them under something, so it's whatever. But anyway, I haven't sold anything yet, or not. I'm actually going to give out a couple as like thank yous to people who helped me train and test. One of the guys that I tested with did do very well though. He got 19th. It was really unfortunate. Whoa. He was actually in 8th place going into the last round, but the judging was weird. So normally in card games. Sorry, we're going to keep talking about cards because it's just what I've been prepping for the last like 3 months. I know, right? Oh, no, your dad. I'm sorry. No. Reference to the movie. Anyway, the card games, normally there's never a rule that says you can't concede to your opponent. Like you could just say, I give up, you win, right? Like it's a written thing. So I guess they've decided for whatever reason that they would become the fucking Gestapo this time we played. I don't know why, but they announced at the very beginning of the tournament, you're not allowed to intentionally draw. You're not allowed to do best of one and concede intentionally to an opponent. Like all these extra things to keep people from trying to like work around the whole best of two thing. And they were like hawking us, like looking around. It was the most uncomfortable thing playing because normally judges are there strictly to help fix things. Like they're there to help, right?
Yeah.
These judges felt like they were actively policing us to make sure that we weren't doing anything. And there were several DQs there in the tournament that were really controversial, which is really unfortunate. I know, like actually, my round 6 opponent got DQ'd in round 7, and he's a really well-known pro that is also a medical professional outside of playing, similar to me. Like he and I like relate.
Oh, so he's definitely a scumbag then.
Yeah, he's definitely a jerk. But he's considering not playing anymore because like him getting DQ'd over in the situation he was in, which had nothing.
Can you tell us why he was disqualified? Was it something stupid?
Oh, it's really fucking stupid. So he and his opponent play round 7. They both acknowledge the fact that if they tie, they'll knock each other out of prize contention. Like literally the gap between winning and making one, or like to get money or to even make day 2 versus just getting nothing.
So they cannot tie.
If they tie, they both knock each other out of that. But if one of them wins, there's a chance. Like they'll.
Oh, so someone threw the game when it became clear or something.
Well, kind of. So they both played their games. Each of them won a game. And at the end, after this has happened, meanwhile, a judge is watch the match unfold, watch them finish. The person just says, you know what? I'm just going to give you the win. Like, hey, I don't know what the motivation for him saying that was, but he just said, I'm just going to give you the win. So the guy that I played, the person, he didn't agree to anything. It's not like he said yes, or he actually looks at the judge like,
Is that
like,
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, like in a nonverbal way, it's like he's waiting for the judge to intervene, jump in, say they can or can't do anything. Nothing's ever said. The guy kind of continues talking on and on for 5 minutes. We use our phones. There's an app that we have to use to put in results. They keep talking. Nothing's ever decided, but the guy just gets up and says, all right, well, just remember me, and never actually confirms what results he puts in, just submits that he lost the match 2-0, like the other guy won. And as soon as he gets up, the judge comes over, grabs the guy, pulls him to the side, and says, "Hey, we know what happened there. You coerced your opponent to concede, so we're disqualifying both of you."
What?
Yeah, it was absolutely fucking stupid.
Bullshit.
So now, like, and also because this has happened, like now it's all a matter of whatever story gets out there. But then, this is a person that's a content creator. Like they have people that follow them, like will pay for coaching, other stuff. He's on a professional team within the community. Like he's worried about reputation, and I get that. Like I understand. Like he comes from a background of other card games too, so it's infuriating. There was another one that happened that was very similar. You talk about people fucking around on black stereotypes. Like this one's kind of fucked up. A guy who happens to be black, that had nothing to do with it. He lost a card. Like round 2 of the event, like it fell on the floor. A judge finds the card. The judge does not try to go and tell anyone that the card is lost to find out who has it. He simply takes it to a separate table away from everyone, puts it under a jacket, and waits. Well,
that's not very helpful. That's
just wait. 2 more rounds go by. This person that lost a card, by the way, is like ranked 3rd right now in the event. Like he's not lost a round. Like he's undefeated.
Oh, wow.
He's undefeated, and he's effectively, as long as he can just win half of the rest of the games, he will go on to day 2. So he gets to an event. He's about to play on camera, and before he does, there is a random deck check. So he's pulled aside by judges, and they ask him, it's like, hey, do you have all of your deck? And he says, well, I think so, yeah. He's like, so you have all your cards? You've made sure that you have all your cards? It's like, I mean, I think so. Mind you, the card he's missing is a card that he has multiple copies of. So it's not like a
he
one.
Just hasn't noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, he just legitimately has not noticed that he's missing a card. So, funny enough, it's a card that he would want in his deck. He's actually playing at a disadvantage. It's one of the most important cards for his deck. So it's not. There would be no reason for him to cut it to like gain some type of competitive advantage. So the judge decides, oh, you think you're playing with the deck that you registered. Okay. So he goes and literally reveals that the card's been sitting there the whole time, like this great reveal, like, haha, I caught you, you liar, you're cheating. And they're like, normally this would be a game loss, but because you lied, we're going to disqualify you. And they just disqualified him for the whole tournament.
Wow, these judges are dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, they
very
really
Disney
need.
like.
No, not at all. I'm not sure why this is how things were handled.
These organizers should be like ashamed of themselves. Like, this is a brand new organization and a brand new like competitive TCG. They should be, on their hands and knees getting people into the sport. Instead, they're being vindictive.
Yeah, well, and mind you, the whole reason that I'm there is I got an invite passed down to me because of someone who cheated. Mind you, if the way they cheated, though, they cheated 6 times before they finally, and got caught multiple times, but was allowed a warning until they weren't. So they cheated 6 times across 2 tournaments in a way that in another competitive card game, they instantly would have been disqualified, but they were given warnings, where these 2 people had things that one has absolutely no control over. The other one, admittedly, the only thing he's at fault of is you were responsible for knowing what cards you have. So, like, I actually count my deck out after every round to make sure that I've not lost a card, because things happen. Because I have been disqualified from events before because of an issue with presenting a deck that didn't have all the cards. I lost a lot of money because of that one. Actually, it was a very sore spot. So anyway, he it's his only fault. But in this game, that it only presents itself as a game loss, and then as long as he can find the card and correct the deck issue, he should move on. So the whole thing is this huge confuddled mess where someone went on a power trip and decided, nah, he's disqualified. Like, they just decided, oh, you must be lying, when it makes no sense otherwise. And it's absolutely ridiculous. There were 5 disqualifications. Those are the only 2 that technically 3, because the one guy was a double disqualification, but those are the 3 I know about. But I've heard the other 2 are just as ridiculous. And it does make you wonder, between the fact that the game's competitive format is not fun, 2-game format is not fun at all, because you don't have a chance to actually outmaneuver your opponent like you do in a best of 3. Like, you can just draw and it feels very unsatisfying. So it feels like there's even more luck involved than actually succeeding. So between that, and then they've created all these enforced rules where you can't intentionally draw or intentionally concede to get around that, because it's allowed in a lot of others. I don't know what I'm going to do next season. I kind of thought I was hanging my hat up on things anyway, but my wife was like, oh, you have so much fun doing these and I love you, so if you want to go to a couple a year, I think it's fine. And I'm like, great. Now I don't even know if I want to. But that said, I got to see a lot of friends. I got to meet a lot of new people that were really interesting and cool. I had a great time. I can't complain that part. I feel really bad for the players that were disqualified in the way they were, like, really unprofessional on that end. And I hope that they look to do some form of reform to their judge program.
Maybe they'll learn from this or something. Maybe it's like the pendulum swung too far the other way after, like, that other guy didn't get caught, like you were talking about. Maybe a bunch of that stuff happened, and they said, look, we got to crack down and be super serious now, and now they're doing it too much.
I mean, maybe. The other thing that happened too, and this is relevant, there were 2 head judges who had effectively run all of the large challenges they had, and most notably, right before, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before this event, one just, I guess, announced that he was dropping out as head judge, like he was no longer going to be able to come, and he flat out just said that I simply cannot make the financial accommodations. Like, they're not paying me enough to be there. It's too much money for me to simply travel there, because they're basically paying me nothing to have all this responsibility. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
That tells a lot.
So the other person dropped out, but just didn't, give a reason. So then they lose their 2 best judges who were effectively running everything, and they're paying nothing. So yeah, they have morons running it. And a lot of time when they do that, you have people who have a power trip. Like, it sucks. And I'm coming from a background of, I myself am a Pokemon judge. I'm a professor, and I can judge events for Pokemon. And the Pokemon professor program is so vastly rich in depth in how they help try to support that group. Like, you get so many exclusive things by being a judge, but that's because they want the game to be healthy, and they want them to have role models and judges to help run events of all sizes, right? Because the whole thing is they want the game to continue to grow and flourish and create a community where people can play, and it's, people don't feel like there's some person hawking over them. And they've created the exact opposite in this situation. Again, this is the largest, the most important tournament they have had yet in North America, and that this is how it ended. It kind of sucks. And that's not to take away from the there are a lot of great players there. And personally, it didn't affect me at all, right? Like, I had none of my gameplay, none of the things that happened to me in my games happened. I drew kind of badly. I think I made one small mistake in a game. Like, I mainly just, it wasn't my day. That's okay. I accepted that. But, it does suck for the others where they're playing a great game and, someone on a power trip making no money decided to ruin that, That sucks.
Hear me out. Maybe you said that one guy is a content creator. Maybe there needs to be a Evo version of Lorcana, or maybe like trading cards where you create this tournament and do something like that, because whoever ran this tournament sounds, number one, it sounds like they don't have a lot of money. How much was the first place prize?
So there's no money. Lorcana doesn't do any cash.
Okay.
It's all in promos and other stuff, but like the promos that were being given out, like the top 4 got a golden Mickey. And I think top 16 all got 2 foil promos that were exclusive to the event that were like together worth about $15,000. And then the Mickey promo is it's dropped in price a lot now because many more of them are out there, but it's somewhere between 10 to 20,000. Like, it's still worth a ton of money, right? Depending on the number you have and all that stuff. So, pricing is pretty good. I think that the winner got a play set, like 4 play sets of all foil of every card in the newest set, which,
Damn.
that in itself is worth, probably thousands of dollars on its own. He can just outright sell it or trade it off and make his money back. So, and not to mention, like, people are going to go to Worlds. The World invite card that people are going to get, there's only 26 players, I think, that are going to be at that. They all get this card that's going to be worth like 10 grand or more just by showing up. Like, it's going to be worth that much because there's only going to be so many copies of it. So like, there's still a lot of money in it, but it's in the form of promo cards, and that's how they kind of get around the whole tax thing, which is fine.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. Like, if you're going to pay me out in things that are ridiculous in money, that's fine with me. But it's funny that you mentioned that, though. Like, there are some other they're not official Disney tournaments, but they're holding pretty large events. And DreamHack is a pretty big organization that's been doing a big gaming tournament for a while. So they're trying to break into it. I would imagine DreamHack next year will have a fairly large Lorcana tournament. Right now, Magic's their biggest thing because they actually run one of the U.S. championships through DreamHack. But I could easily see Lorcana becoming one of the events that they run, and they'll probably do it for, a couple $1,000, prize pool in a tournament. That's where to start, at least. I think actually last year, I think they did a 2K or a 5K. So it can only grow.
Yeah.
Just up to the the TOs and stuff. But
and I think it would be pretty cool to have commentators you freak out like Evo, but with fucking Lorcana. He pulled out the Mickey. Oh shit!
They need a yipes for Lorcana. Yeah, the Scoops Haagen-Dazs guy.
Yeah.
The deck that I played was beating people with Genie and Elsa and Hades. Those are my 3 bomb cards. So I was whooping people's ass with
all the blue
Elsa.
characters.
Yeah, my deck was blue and purple. Literally, it's called Blurple. I played Blurple. That was my deck. And Hades sets people on fire effectively, and Elsa ices people, and that's how I beat people. It was great.
Nice.
So, but I didn't do a whole lot of beating. I lost more games than I won. But anyway, I'm done talking about Lorcana. I will see how things go in the next few months. There are set championships this next month, so I'm going to keep playing, obviously, and maybe go to 1 or 2 of those if I can. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what season 2 is going to look like and see what changes they're going to make.
Well,
I did. Oh, go ahead, Zach.
I was gonna say, if that game falls through, you need to join me and Andy on the Gundam trading card game that's coming up right now.
That's right. I signed up.
Let's go.
All right.
I just saw our chat.
got third player. We did it.
I gotta buy all the decks now.
I don't know if I have that in me. There's so many trading card games that have come out lately. It's like, oh god.
Just play it casually.
Okay, so I don't know if you know me, but I don't do anything casually.
That's
This is an experiment. Try.
Yep, tried that. There's a reason why I don't have any magic stuff anymore.
He was gonna like casually play Lorcana, and now he's like going to the national nonsense in Anaheim.
Play this like you just don't care.
I want to point out that I in the last year and a half to 2 years, I plan to only play Pokemon and or Lorcana and Magic casually, and I managed to qualify and or play in every national championship in the last 12 months of all three of those games. So you take it for what it is.
Are you sticking with Pokemon or not? You talked like you were going to get out of it.
I mean, I still have stuff. I haven't bought anything. I know this new.
It's about to be, according to what everyone's saying, it's about to be even harder to be in.
Yeah, because this new set that's coming out is going to be really hard. I actually was telling my wife today, like, I think after, like, I've already got pre-ordered stuff for it. I'll probably still try to finish it as a collector, but then after that, I think I'm at least done collecting. And I mean, as far as the game goes, like, I don't know. The game is fun, but I don't know if I have enough time, and I want to take I think I want to take a break from trading cards for a little while. I'll come back.
He's going to Street Fighter. That's his next journey.
I don't know. We'll see. But I did play some other stuff. I watched Toy Story. I guess I should bring it up randomly. We watched Toy Story the night before we left and flew back.
It's a good one.
It's a good movie. I realized I didn't realize like this type of thing, but it was a hilarious reference in the movie. I don't know how long it's been since you guys have watched Toy Story, but when they're in Pizza Planet, they're in the arcade, and the one kid's playing Whack-A-Alien. It's like Whack-A-Mole. The thing is a body, and it's a person's abdomen
coming out like
open,
xenomorphs. Yeah.
and it's xenomorphs coming out of a guy's gut. There's blood everywhere, and I thought that was fucking hilarious. I laughed so hard.
I must have seen that movie 600 times as a kid.
Yeah, Toy Story's great.
I had a
right
Buzz. Actually, they had made the Buzz Lightyear, and I had one. I wrote Andy on its foot because I mean that makes sense for more than one reason.
Yeah. But yeah, you'd be disappointed now if you were to go to a Disney store and try to buy a Woody or a Buzz. They no longer have Andy on them. They say Bonnie because of the kid in the new one.
Oh, when I bought it, it was clean. I had to write Andy on it.
Oh yeah. No, now if you buy them there, they already have it on there. But yeah, Evie's really into it. Jessie and Bullseye, the horse, are her favorite things. So yeah. She got to go and meet the princesses, by the way. I guess if I bring up who had the most fun, she got to do warrior poses with Mulan, and I found out later that the breakfast that she went to do that cost the same as a PS5. So I feel like I got fucking scammed because I went and played card games, and they're like, well, two could play at that game. But,
oh, man.
Man, yeah. Is it too late to break into the child's entertainment racket? Because that sounds like a pretty good...
I know, right?
Probably too late. Probably
for one PS5, you could have breakfast with Andy. But on the plane, I did get to play some cool games. I played and I beat Sonic Mania. Yeah. That game was a blast. The game was so fun. It is. Good. That soundtrack fucking kicks ass.
Lopes did the soundtrack. He rules.
It made my least favorite level in Sonic 2 fun.
And it has one of the coolest bosses ever.
It does. The boss kicks ass, and just the simple fact that you have the flame shield and you set all the oil on fire was enough for me. The whole part of Act 2 where the whole environment's on fire, so like you have to put out the flames so many times. Like I loved it.
I thought you meant Chemical Plant Zone. That's the boss I was referencing, I guess I should say. But Oil Ocean is your least favorite.
Oil Ocean, but I know what you're talking about, the boss. No, Oil Ocean's my least favorite level in Sonic 2. Chemical Plant Zone is by far my favorite. The music alone, it way in my head. And yes, Mean Bean Machine, as a boss. It's fucking brilliant.
That's one of my favorite parts.
Oh yeah, I guess we all beat Sonic 2.
We
Yeah,
all beat Sonic 2. We also
did.
all beat Sonic Generations.
Yeah, I forgot we did. I didn't even add those to my thing. Yeah, we
I
did
didn't
that
have it on
on New
mine.
Year's. Yeah, so we beat Sonic Generations. So for reference, Zach, Annie, and I all got together for New Year's at a friend's house, and our friend had never beaten a Sonic game, which is ridiculous because he platinum Elden Ring. How the fuck does he not beat a Sonic game? So not only did we beat Sonic in Shadow Generations, we just beat the Sonic Generations part, but we also beat Sonic 2. It was a lot of fun. I had a really good time that night. Let's see. On the way back, I managed to go literally on a plane ride. I was very proud of this. I'm not a speedrunner by any means, but I did 0 to 70 Super Mario 64 and beat Bowser before I got off the plane.
Hell
like
yeah.
So about 4.5 hours.
It's pretty fast.
I thought so. I was very impressed with myself. I mean, I didn't like do it in like some cheeky way where I went and did like the bullshit, like I'll get the first star as fast as possible. No, like I stuck to the levels and actually like got the coin stars and yeah. I only played like the first like 9 levels of the game and then just went straight up to and got all the secret stars and then went to Bowser and beat him. So I was pretty proud of that. And I'm still working on it because I was like, you know what? I haven't played this game long enough. I'm doing Accelerated Gamer. I might as well get the 120 stars. I think I have 102. So I'm going to finish that up. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I only spent half the fucking episode ranting about what I did. So, but it was a lot. So that's all I did.
That's all I did.
That's
burned LA and played cards.
Burned LA and played cards.
All right, I guess I'll go next. So me and my dad have been on a Walking Dead kick since we wanted to like actually close out the Walking Dead season 11. Actually, it was the Daryl series that we watched first. We're like, why the fuck are they doing more shit with Walking Dead with the main characters? You know, because Daryl is in France. Maggie and Negan are in New York. Rick Grimes and Michonne. By the way, spoiler alert, Rick Grimes never died. Rick Grimes and Michonne are dealing with like a government entity that is building in the United States. And I'm sure I'm missing something else, but we watched the Daryl one and we're like, this is like kind of cool. Like the scenery is different because they're in Europe and stuff. And we're like, but what happened? So we went back to season 11 and we finished that. Gaming wise, I finished Celeste. That was the first game that I did on Accelerated Gamer. As a person who has anxiety, this game like wrecked me emotionally. Because the main character has anxiety and she's climbing this mountain. And she meets characters along the way. Like she meets an old lady that like laughs all the time, and then she meets her dark side of herself, the one that always like talks down to herself, saying you can't do this, just fucking quit and all that stuff. So you have that going on, and then you have this this dude that's like climbing the mountain with her and he's like taking selfies and stuff. He's like, yeah, everything's fine. It's cool. And he's always in like a positive, mind and stuff. And she's like, why are you always like cool about things? He's like, it's just the way it is, man. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. But it like when the gaming is hard. If you ever played Super Meat Boy, it's kind of like that. Because you have to do like weird jumps to get to where you need to go. It started fucking with me when I was getting chased because in video games I hate being chased, especially when Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, Evil Within, the first scene where you're getting chased by a chainsaw, that fucking freaked me out. And this one, even though it's kind of like cartoonish and cute, like a hotel manager that is like crazy fucking chases you because you're just like you're weird and I hate your hotel, and he's like fuck you bitch, and then he like chases you throughout the hotel, and then obviously your evil dark side chases you in certain areas as well. But overall, I was really, really wrecked emotionally, but I did like the game. It's probably, I'm just throwing a number right now. It's probably a 8 out of 10 for me for that game. And I highly recommend it. A game that I'm playing right now is called Severed Steel. It's a boomer shooter, kinda. And do you know that VR game Ultra Hot or Ultra Red, whatever?
Super hot.
Super hot.
There we
Do
go.
I know it?
Yeah.
It's the most innovative game I've played in years.
Imagine that without like the stop and go stuff. It's just more the art style and like the colorful
So it's
things.
Pistol Whip.
Kind of, but it's also Max Payne as well. Because you can slow down time. You feel like a badass. You like you shoot people, you take their gun, you do like John Wick stuff. It's fucking cool. There's like no voice acting. You just get like comic strips, and you just like she escapes that scene. And I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't need to know anything about other stuff. You just give me that comic strip, and I enjoy it. It's a short game. I actually bought it in early access when it was just like 2 levels. Now there's like 7, so I gotta finish the game. I'm on level 5 at the moment, so I should be done with that soon. I guess I'll talk about it now. I wrote it in Facebook Messenger literally like a couple hours ago, but I'm deciding to cancel my Game Pass. Number 1, I don't play online games a lot anymore. And 2, I'm starting to become like a physical media person again.
There you go. That's what I if you didn't say that, I was going to jump in at the end.
Yeah. And 3, there's just too many games on Game Pass for me to be like, and plus they jumped it from when I actually first bought it from $10 all the way to $22 a month. And I just can't, I'm just giving money to Microsoft for no apparent reason.
Cancel that shit.
Yeah. But I am going to re-up the Sony one because I do like the PlayStation Classics.
You were so close.
But also
PlayStation Classics, that you're going to pay for the subscription just to play PlayStation 1 games?
No, and there's other things on there that I want.
I know, but man,
it's cheaper. I mean, it's like what, $17 a month?
Okay, I mean, you do you,
Yeah.
but
It's even cheaper if you just pay for it all in one go, like once a year.
Yeah, for a year. Yeah.
Yeah, I just do that because it's funny. I don't even think about it. I've just been doing it, and I get enough. I get my money's worth out of it. I think, in my opinion.
Like the year cost is like what, $60?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's either I'm gonna do the Sony one or re-up my Nintendo one.
That one's
I don't
even
know.
cheaper.
yeah, Nintendo one's like $20 a year. Like I do that one just without even thinking about it.
Yep,
Yeah.
same. I literally do both of those, and I just don't worry about Microsoft because what I found with the Game Pass was I would get it, and for every 50 games that they would give me, there might be one I might be interested in playing. Like I was paying all that money just to maybe have like 10 games that I wanted to play, and then I never got around to it anyway.
Look, I'll tell you what you guys do. You got to do what I assume Zach and definitely I have done. You spend a decade and a half meticulously building a physical game collection at flea markets and yard sales, and then don't play them, and then you'll just have those to play.
Exactly. I'm ready for video games to crash again because I'll be good for like the rest of my life.
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
mean, listen, I'm kind of there. Like, if they just stop, if tomorrow they just decide we're not making video games ever again,
That'd
like,
be fine.
I've got enough of what I have to just survive. Like,
We'll survive.
I mean, yeah, I'll just come to your bunkers and play. But
I can do that.
there we
I can
go.
borrow things.
I know a
Don
guy.
Matrick, you can come over to my house and borrow my game.
So
Dumbass.
I found a funny loophole at Game Pass, by the way, that I learned on Sacred Symbols. It's a podcast that I listen to. It's a PlayStation podcast. And one of the hosts said, yeah, I finished the indie game within a month when I did Game Pass, and then I canceled my subscription. And they give you 2 options. They either give you option A to continue to cancel your subscription and just continue for the rest of the month, or B, refund your money back.
Oh, well, that's cool of them.
Yeah,
I can't believe they give you that option. Usually they just say, "Hey, fuck you, your money's ours now."
Yeah, so like I'm gonna use that as like a renting thing. Like if I really like a game and I don't want to fucking,
then you got to beat it. You got to play it. You got to beat it.
and that's motivation, right? Because you're paying money to do that and to quickly get your money back within the month, which I'm pretty sure that loophole is going to probably close soon when people start fucking abusing it too much.
I might depend on how long. Like if it's past 15 days, they tell you no way or something.
Sidebar, I have a really great idea. Let's fuck Dub's idea over by exclusively making the Games Club stuff only games that are on Game Pass.
Well, I'm fucked then.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work for me, brother.
Guys, it'd be worth it.
I'm going to use my creative control clause to...
Okay, fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I played those 2 games. That's more than 0 and more than me just saying NHL and Link to the Past all the time. So 2025 is starting off good. I didn't play as much Sonic games as these guys or Sega games like Andy.
No one plays as many Sega games as I do, man. Just wait.
Yeah, he is definitely the conductor of the Sega train. He and Stack.
Yeah, and a little side note I'm not going to go deep, but wrestling WWE was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Hogan got booed. That was funny. I fucking marked out for that.
We're still talking about that. It's funny.
Yeah. And recently, today's recording, Penta, who was from AEW, showed up and had an amazing match. He could work. Holy fuck. If he's used right in a real wrestling company. I'm
going to get a drop. That's that Vito's wrestling talk. I'm going to hit it, and it's going to be like a bunch of booze.
No. That's not fair. How come you can talk about card games for like half an hour? I can't talk about wrestling.
I like cards. I got cards right here. Look, these are cards. I got.
You know what?
Cards.
It's just like in American fiction. You're outnumbered 3-1.
That's right.
You're not going to win.
I think it's important that we listen to card voices right now.
Card voices.
Nope, send him to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, but I just wanted to bring up, I like the presentation.
Yeah. Oh, look, all the ads are on the mat. I hate it. It's like, do you guys watch any other?
All the ads are what?
They put like little advertisers on the mat. You know how like if you watch the UFC fight?
Yeah, I was going to say just like boxing and UFC.
Like everything, fucking everything.
Yeah.
I thought they already did. I thought all the turnbuckles had ads on them.
No, that's only sometimes.
Yeah, they had Prime energy drink because of the Logan Paul and shit. And people were like, oh, we got Prime. Ooh.
Oh,
no,
and now I've never seen
their
this
autism got bothered, their hair got itchy, whatever.
Now, instead of one Prime logo, there's like a million logos, including fucking Hogan.
I mean, I hate ads too. I get it, but also like it doesn't affect anything in this. It's like they're cutting in the middle of a match to an ad for Dove soap or something like that.
Yeah, I have a segue to something, just a quick sidebar because it's just too funny. I saw it yesterday in the airport. So apparently, Logan Paul and KSI decided to deliver a large supply of Prime bottles to victims in the California wildfires.
They didn't drink it.
And the top comment was, could you imagine? You just watched everything you own and love burn in a fire, and someone offers you a bottle of Prime to comfort you. I'd walk back into the fucking fire. And that was so fucking funny. Yeah, apparently there's just a bunch of empty bottles of Prime just sitting there for people and no one's drinking it.
That's best.
I thought it was really fucking funny.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like the presentation. They're kind of like doing a soft attitude error a little bit because there's some cursing. The Rock was I don't think it was intentional. I think he was just like trying to be cool. But he they showed like a video of him on Instagram having a drink with Cody Rhodes and then getting into a vehicle, like an alcohol beverage, and going into his truck and leaving. So essentially he's drinking and driving, which I thought was hilarious. And then the rapper that is like the his intro. I forgot what the rapper's name
Is
was.
it Wale? Is it fucking Travis Scott? Is it
Travis Scott. There you go.
Travis Scott smoking a blunt. Yeah.
Yeah. He was.
And then like Jey
weed in the
Uso was
crowd.
walking with him, and then he was like on the press conference or something. He's like, I didn't inhale. I was trying to so they wouldn't inhale it. And like he did this whole thing like trying to cover up him being close to him. It was funny.
Oh man, I love the thing about The Rock. It is one of those comment things, and it was like The Rock's feeling oozy tonight. Which, if you know, it's really funny because of Jimmy. But yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I told Zach, I was like, because the first one had like 4 million views, which that hasn't happened in a really long time on Raw.
Like since mid 2000s, maybe, when they had that many viewers.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, we'll see. Let's see what happens in the future Raws, and I guarantee we're gonna have another good viewership because it's been positive. Because the last one they were just like, oh, there's so many like callbacks. The Undertaker just came back for like.
Oh, I hate the Undertaker. I hate seeing his ass.
Yeah.
Fucking losers.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm excited. Oh, I played Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain.
I was wondering if you'd bring that.
It's very short. My playthrough compared to Andy's. I just got up to the pillars because I love the swinging the sword mechanic for some strange reason.
I love cutting people with swords.
Yes, it was like really, and plus when he like screams out victorious or something, what does he say?
Ve Victus.
Yeah, something like that.
Suffering to the conquered.
Yeah.
Ironic now that it is I that is suffering.
But I'm enjoying it. I think I love the edginess of this video game.
It's very, very edgy, but I'm gonna try to keep that in my back pocket for now. We'll talk about it later.
Gotta think about when it came out.
I know. Yeah. No, that's important. Dubs, are you done? Because I'm gonna roll into talking about Blood Omen actually.
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, I've been playing Blood Omen a lot. I'm in a cathedral. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but I'm in a cathedral. I got the last sword, and I'm enjoying that game a lot. I also kind of like the sword, and then I got the mace, and I hated it, and then I got the axes, and I hated them, and then I got the flame sword, and I said, "Oh, we're so back." So, but honestly, at that point, like toward the end of wherever I'm at, like the point I'm at in the game, they just heap cool stuff on you. I've got a flaming sword. I've got a spell that separates the soul from a body. I've got like all kinds of stuff that's just like, no, I win. No, I'm not having this fight right now. Like this huge, there's like these 4-armed evil demon horned devils in the cathedral, and like, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm like, nah, I separate your soul from your body, you're dead.
That's fucking awesome.
See, that's how video games were back then. Just cool. You can do cool shit, and I mean,
if you run out of magic, you're in trouble. But yeah, I mean, even then, it's like, no, I turn into mist. You can't hurt me. I'm gonna walk around you now. Bye. I leave this room. We're not having this fight. Yeah, I make you explode. I summon the blood from your body with my blood. Ugh.
And I drink it.
And it improves my health, and you're dead. Bye.
And I laugh at you.
But yeah, we'll talk about that game at length in the future. I'm having fun with it, but I do have some gripes. But we'll talk about that later, I guess. I played and beat. I like to start. We always do that accelerated gamer thing we've mentioned on the show before. And on the first of the year, or as close to it as I can get, I like to play a really short game. And it just feels good to already have something on the list, something to build on. So I downloaded and beat Donut County. It's just a real short 2-hour game where you open up holes and then make stuff fall into the hole and basically destroy an entire town. And that's kind of it. Like, it's a raccoon's fault. Like, this raccoon is your boss at the donut store, and he's making the holes appear, and you yell at him, and then you have to like undo the damage, and it's silly. It's a fun little 2-hour game. It has like some additional stuff, but I wasn't really digging it. I think I got it on sale for, I think it was $4.90. Yeah, it's about worth that. It's a nice, fun little 2-hour game. I played and beat Beyond Oasis for the Sega Genesis. That game rules. I played and beat Vector Man 1 for the Sega Genesis. That game rules. I played and beat Sonic 1 for the Sega Genesis. That game rules. I played for a little while Columns 3. That game's pretty cool. I'm not good at it, though. And I started Vector Man 2. I'm like 6 levels into it. I don't know how long Vector Man 2 is though. The levels in Vector Man 2 seem to be way shorter than the first one though. Like I played it as a kid, but like you forget some stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got that Sega Genesis collection on cart in my Switch right now, and I'm getting my money's worth out of that puppy. I'll tell you what.
Playing all these, I was trying to figure out what you were how exactly you were playing those games on Switch.
A lot of these games are on the Sega Genesis like collection thing on Switch Online if you pay for the membership plus. And I was gonna do that, and I was like, well, I bought this Genesis thing. Let's see what's on it. It's got everything. Everything is on there. The only things it's missing are Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles. That's about it. it has all the Golden Axes, all the Streets of Rage, both Vector Mans. It has Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4. It has Shining Force 1 and 2 and Shining in the Darkness. It has Rystar. It has
Shinobi.
It has Revenge of Shinobi on there. It's got it all. Like pretty much everything you could. Oh, it's got of course Beyond Oasis. Very underrated game. It's got Gunstar Heroes. It's got
Does it have Alien Storm?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You trying to get it?
You trying to stump Sega? Come on now.
Yeah, Altered Beast.
This is important. This is an important service announcement for our listeners. Sega delisted this digitally from all stores, from PlayStation, from Xbox, from Nintendo. People think they're about to roll out a subscription service, like you kind of like what Dubs was talking about earlier with, Sony and stuff like that. But you can still get the cartridge version pretty cheap. VGP, I think they're a Canadian outfit. I got my copy from them for less than $20. Like,
That's
I can't recommend it enough. It has save states. It has rewind, just like the Nintendo Online thing. It has a cool little room that you can customize and make it looks like a room from the 90s. And it has like Sega posters on the wall and stuff. And when you select the game, it puts the cartridge into the system and then turns on the CRT and zooms into the CRT. And it knows what time of day it is. When it's dusk in real life, it's dusk in the room. It's just there's like a gold axe replica in the corner. It's just cool stuff like that. But for less than $20, you get like I think it's 37 Sega Genesis games.
It's worth it.
Yeah, no, it's just it's a no-brainer. Get it. It rules. I know I played some other stuff. I guess Donut County I talked about all the Genesis games, and Blood Omen. I went Sega crazy. I got that Sega madness in me.
Sega madness.
What did I watch though? I've watched an absolutely embarrassing to my ancestors amount of Family Guy. I have watched multiple seasons now. And I watched a bunch of Family Guy in college because that's what you do when you're in college. You watch a bunch of Family Guy and you drink a bunch of beers. And I was like, okay, this show is beneath me. I publicly disavow Family Guy. I don't like it anymore. I decided, I think I talked about it a little bit on our bonus episode. I said, I'm watching Family Guy again. It's been a lot of fun. Since then, I've watched like 5 seasons that I've never seen before. It's funny. It's a funny ass show. It's just like some of the jokes are just really well written, and some of the jokes are not well written. But whatever. I just got Family Guy on, and I'm playing Sega Genesis games on my Switch. Like I couldn't be happier. Happier than a pig in mud. I also watched, speaking of shitty viewing, I watched Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, the movie from 2022. It was okay.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty funny. It's it's
Beavis and Butthead.
I didn't hate it. Honestly, I thought it was animated too well. I wanted it to look shittier.
That's kind of like what it looks like now. That's what the TV show kind of looks like too.
I haven't watched any of the new shows, so I guess I was ill prepared. Maybe
the show is fucking fun. It's funnier than that movie is. I'll tell you.
Oh, really? Well, maybe I'll give it a shot then, because I still got Paramount Plus, and I think that's what it's on. So, I watched The Most Beautiful. It's another propaganda movie from Japan from World War II.
Still watching those Japanese propaganda. I think you did on the Gaiden. Okay,
no, then forget it. Forget I said that. I'm trying to watch all the Kurosawa movies. I also watched. I think I already talked about Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. We'll skip that too. And then I watched. I've watched this multiple times, but I never brought it up on the show. Space King. Have you guys ever heard of Space King? It's a YouTube series.
No.
Nope, unfamiliar.
I can't recommend it enough to only like its whole thing is it appeals to male power fantasies. Like it's just supposed to be like old school that way. Recently, and this could all be a lie. It could be like a marketing stunt they're doing to sell more merchandise. But they have said more than once, they said, we will never sell Space King. It's funded by you. Get on the Patreon, and we'll only ever make Space King for you. And there's an unedited version on Patreon, and there's a slightly edited version on YouTube. Well, they said yesterday that they got an offer from a network to buy Space King, and they told them to go fuck themselves. And not only that, but they said for the next 7 days, every time you buy a piece of merchandise, it automatically sends an email to the company that offered to buy them of a GIF image of one of the characters giving an enema to an Fire Stick remote, and it just does it automatically every single time.
That's
like they're
amazing.
like this show isn't for fucking sale. We're not gonna. These are their words, not my words. They said we're not gonna sell it to Hollywood to make it lame and gay. We're gonna keep it just for us. It's basically like Warhammer 40K by way of Metalocalypse. If that makes
I gotta
sense.
see this.
Okay,
It's
that
great.
sounds cool.
There's 2
That
episodes
sounds
of it out so
amazing.
far, and they're both extremely good and very funny. Like watch them immediately. I've rewatched them multiple times. I finally joined the Patreon so I could see the unedited episodes. They're very minor changes. Like you don't even have to do it. But I kind of joined the Patreon because I was like, yeah, I believe in what these guys are doing. This is pretty cool. I'm into this. But that's you guys gotta watch Space King. Same for the viewers. I think it even says there's plenty of shows that appeal to teenage girls, but what about teenage boys and 30-year-old men? Don't we matter too?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. But it's very good.
That's it.
That's it. It's up to Zach now. He's gonna take us home.
Oh, I didn't do shit.
Oh, you played
I'm
Blood
kidding.
Omen.
I'm joking. All right, I'll go over what I watched first. I watched Joker Folie à Deux.
Oh, you
I
did.
What do I do?
I watched it. I was determined to always watch it anyway, despite what everybody was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not good. It's not that good.
They were right.
Well, like no grifting, none of that shit. It's just not a very good movie, and it's because it's weird because for like first half of the movie, it is pretty good and interesting, and then it's like the latter half of the movie it kind of falls apart, and especially the ending. It feels sort of like after I got done, I was just like, they either didn't really understand why the first movie got such a good response, or they understood why that movie got the response it did, and they didn't like it. So they felt like they had to do something to counteract.
What do you
that.
think it is? Because I've seen a lot of conversation about this.
I don't know because I haven't really done any research yet to kind of figure out behind the scenes stuff, like what was going on maybe, or like any kind of offhand comments.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that's noticeable that may have changed how this movie went is Bradley Cooper was a co-producer for that movie, the first one. And he had a partnership with the director. I can't remember, Todd Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a partnership with him, and like that partnership dissolved pretty much after that movie was over. I don't know what happened. I don't know enough about it. Some people are thinking because Bradley Cooper left and it had different producers and stuff, the movie turned out the way it did.
Maybe.
I heard Joaquin Phoenix didn't want to do a sequel unless he had some more say creatively over what happened. And if that's the case, that's really unfortunate.
God
That's
damn
really,
it.
really unfortunate. He should maybe be one of those guys that doesn't get a say creatively. Because I feel like he maybe missed the point of why anybody liked that first movie as well. But yeah, it's not as bad as like what some people make it out to be. Like it's, God, dude, this is fucking awful. It's one of the worst movies. No, it's not. I've seen worse movies than that. But,
I think if they done it where it didn't have the Joker like character of it, I think I would have been like, oh, that's a pretty cool ending on how it it did. But I think it's like, remember Matrix 4? We were just like, it's the Wachowski sister just like making fun of the production company, forcing them to do a sequel. And I think that's the case in this, where Joaquin Phoenix didn't want to do it because remember all that fucking press where people were like, you got to make a Joker too, and it needs to be Batman in it. And he's like, I'm not doing another Joker. It should be only one and done.
I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. That should have probably been the way it was. I think there was room to make a sequel of that movie and kind of amp it up. Like, what I mean by amp it up is just like the way that first one ended, it left some people feel like, oh man, I wanted to see him kind of like go on a spree or something, and it didn't happen. So like you could at least tap into that, and you could do something sort of like, Devil's Rejects-ish or something, but maybe more artsy.
I don't know. They didn't want to create incels as like. Remember that was the first.
Oh movie. Yeah, the movie enabled incels, that retarded shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not recommend watching it though. Watch a little bit more Twin Peaks season 3. I'm just kind of rewatching it. It's still really cool.
Andy needs to watch season 3.
I watched the insane episode 8 again. It's so great because of how ridiculous it is.
Yes,
I had fun watching that with people that hasn't seen it yet, and I had to like kind of try to explain to them without spoiling things. That was pretty fun. We already talked about Raw on Netflix. That's where Raw is going to be at from now on, and it's interesting, and the production's different. It's a new era. I watched Wrestling Bios videos when I was goofing off on YouTube some more. Like he did a career summary for Jerry Lawler that was pretty interesting. He talks about like if the stuff with Andy Kaufman was fully a work or not. Yes, it was fully a work. They were both in on it. And it was actually Kaufman who was suggesting a lot of this crazy shit. Like he wanted Jerry Lawler to beat him up on national TV. That was him that suggested that. Oh yeah, he did a video about the AWA Super Clash 3, which is like, I think the last pay-per-view the AWA ever had. It was like kind of a disaster. It was not good.
It's on my watch list.
There's one match in it. It's the main event. It's Jerry Lawler and Kerry Von Erich for the AWA title. That was a pretty good match, but it's like the rest of the show is full of matches that are okay or embarrassing. It's just like that kind of show. And I played some games. I played Street Fighter 6 a bunch. I just played the World Tour because I never played through it before. It's pretty fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I think I'm almost done with it. Played Comic Zone. I didn't beat it, and I decided to give up on it.
That game too hard.
It's too hard. It's like we were saying on the Gaiden episode, because I think I was playing it back then too, because I came back and kept trying to beat it, and even with the advantages of save states and shit, I still can't do it.
It's the fucking chip damage.
It's the chip damage wrecks your health and just it puts you at a complete disadvantage against bosses when you have to fight them.
Such a shame too, because that game has such a cool idea and aesthetic, and then they like gunk it up with that difficulty.
It could have been great, but it decided to just be and I'm playing more Echo the Dolphin, and I'm still doing pretty well with that game. It has frustrating moments, but I like it. There's this part where there's like a bunch of these ice blocks that move around in like patterns and stuff, and they basically instantly kill you. So you have to like be able to swim through this shit really fast, or you just die instantly.
Sounds fun.
It's not. But when you play it on Polymega, it's really easy. You just go fuck, and then you like reload your save state, and it's like, okay, fuck, and I don't care about cheating. Done, baby. I don't care. It's fine.
Exactly right.
I want to see you get to that psycho ending and elaborate on that a little bit once you get there.
Oh, I'm gonna love it. Yeah,
it's fucking out there.
Those games are weird.
And then I've been playing Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, and that's like the what did we call that? Hell, Game Club?
We didn't officially name it. We pitched a bunch of ideas, and then we all lulled and moved on.
Yeah.
Gaming Ward.
What is it?
Game Lord.
The Gaming Ward. I jokingly called it the Gaming Ward because we just tried. There was a moment in the chat where you guys were trying to think we need to name it after John Carpenter thing, and then I was just like, Gaming Ward. But it might work. I don't know. It's a work in progress.
Let us know. Tweet at us. What should we name our game show? It needs to be related to John Carpenter for no reason at all.
Yes, it has to fit in with like a title or like a line or something. But yeah, Blood Omen's like one of my favorite PS1 games, like or games from that era, really. So
I'm playing the PC version.
The game. Because
the
the thing, the game.
Oh yeah, the game. There it is. It's the game.
No,
But,
let's call it the game after the fog instead.
I'm gonna save more of my comments about that game, I guess, when we finally decide to talk.
It's hard
about
to
it.
resist, but yeah.
Yeah, because I have a lot, but I can't. I don't want to do it now. So that's it. That's everything.
Well, that's it. We're all done. If you're watching this, subscribe because we're gonna have all the episodes going forward. What's the YouTube URL, Dubs?
Big Trouble Media. So if you do like youtube.com/ at Big Trouble Media, you'll be able to catch our live episodes on there. We're also on, when you listen to the recorded version, audio version, which will come out later, is iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere else where Red Circle puts out our podcast. So
Red Circle Jerk, yeah.
Yep. Red Circle Jerk.
Please subscribe. Please comment. Please review us 5 stars. Please retweet. Please do all the other stuff. Please put us in your top 5 friends on MySpace. Thank you.
Please chat, please.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to end the episode here. See you in the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for listening.